Hello and welcome to Friday's ITV7 Picks podcast, where me and Frankie will be going through all of the 7 races on the 4th day of Royal Ascot, as we are trying to find you, the winners, in Friday's ITV7 free-to-play game that sees all 7 races from the 4th day of the meeting with a £200,000 jackpot on offer. Frankie, we now move on to the 4th day. Having witnessed the action on day 1 and day 2, we already covered up the recap on day 1, but you were there yesterday for the Wednesday. So what were your big takeouts? It seemed a bit of a whitewash for the punters, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely one for the bookies. I think that punters generally did well on day 1. And yesterday, I didn't speak to many people backing winners, and thank God Gregory went in. I mean, we both were on. We both put him up, and that was a bit of a saviour, really, because otherwise it would have been a barren day for bets. But it was great fun, and like I said, on day 1, the only thing we were missing was a Frankie Dettori winner. We had pretty much everything else, and we did get that on day 2. So it just shows how tough Ascot is. You know, horses can come and really surprise you. Some horses win that really don't have any form in the book, and you think, how could I have possibly picked that? But we'll go again today, and I'm optimistic.
Yeah, well, we've got to be. We've got to be more optimistic. And I think there is, on the Friday, a few more fabs that look a bit more certain if they are at Royal Ascot than the other days. So we'll have a look through. But before we get involved, obviously the ITV7 free-to-play league for TWE still running, £250 first place cash prize. You can still get involved now. You can have a really good last 2 days and still finish at the top of the leaderboard. And also, there's still £450,000 up for grabs on the ITV7 game as a whole in jackpot prizes. So make sure you get involved there. If you want to join our league, join using the code TWE ITV7. Details and T's and C's, like they have been all week, are in the description below this video. So if you want to get involved, check it out on the link there. Right then, we'll get straight into it. Frankie, day 4 kicks off in the 2:30. The Group 3 Albany Stakes over 6 furlongs. Do you know what? This race has given me the biggest headache all week. I thought from an anti-post perspective, I knew exactly who was going to win this. And I think this could go one or two ways. There's Carla's Way at the top of the market, 7-2, drawn in stall 2. You've then got Soprano at 4-1, drawn on the other side of the track at 16. Jabara just behind that at 6 is drawn at 18 next to Soprano. And then the Navassa Island drawn right next to Carla's Way. So it's going to be one on either side of the track here, in my opinion. It's just which horse wins it, because I think all 4, and I know they're all 4 at the top of the market, and there's some unexposed horses in there below that could come out and put up a big performance like we've seen already this week. But I think it's at the top 4 in the market. But who do you like here, Frankie?
Yeah, I'm hoping for one of the 2 that you mentioned from the low draw, Navassa Island, who was very unlucky not to catch Porta Fortuna, or not unlucky, but just a little bit too little, too late. That was a really good performance in the Group 3 on her first start, and she's only going to build on that. You've got to like the way she finished her race. Colin Keane, hopefully, is riding with a bit of confidence after banging in a winner already. And I just think, for one start in such a hot race and to finish so strongly, they're all obviously improving horses, but she's got to come here with a good chance.
Yeah, you know what? I've gone with Navassa Island as well.
Yeah.
And it's not even from a price point of view, because it doesn't matter with the ITV7. It was literally just watching all the replays back through these horses. And for that horse on debut to do what it did in a Group 3, like Porta Fortuna, lovely horse, obviously in this race as well. But I can see why they flipped in the market this time, because the trouble she hit in running, and then to come out and the way she flew home, and a few more yards, she wins that race. And she comes in at an even shorter price, I think. I think she's massively going to improve for that. I hope over the other side of the track in stall 3 will be where to go, like it was on the first day. So Navassa Island's going to be my selection as well in this. I think she's got a lot of scope to improve. Jabara was one I put up in our anti-post, and Navassa Island. If you go back and watch Jabara, honestly, it was a serious run. That was another one that hit trouble 2 or 3 times, got pulled out and flew home. There's some seriously quick horses in there. Carla's Way, the form of that horse's first run has been absolutely franked. And Soprano, obviously, with Midnight Affair in second, coming out and winning as well. So it's a cracking race to start us off. And I'm surprised you're agreeing, really, because it's really, really competitive.
I know it's a big field to pick from.
Yeah. So it's either going to be a really good start or a really bad start. But Navassa Island for the both of us to kick us off. Right then, next up at Royal Ascot sees the first Group 1 event of the day with the Commonwealth Cup over 6 furlongs. And Frankie, I think everyone who's watched our podcasts over the last probably 3 months or so, when it's been the flat season, will know that Little Big Bear, you are head of the fan club, really, when putting him up. You put him up, you've been behind him every single time. He did you the job last time at Haydock. Surely you've got to be sticking with him at the top of the market.
Yeah, 100%. We love the Bear. It's all about the Bear in this. He's just class. He's just such a speedy brute of a horse. And like you said, I was never worried at Haydock. After his run in the 1000, it was the wrong trip. He took a knock. It was the wrong ground. It just wasn't his race. And everyone said he had to go and prove his talent back over 6 furlongs at Haydock, and he did just that. He's one of the most exciting horses for me last year, and still remains one of the most exciting sprinters. I love him. He's a great character, and he's just a brute of a sprinter. So sticking with the Bear.
Well, you know me, we've talked about this horse, and it's not that I don't like Little Big Bear at all. It's not.
I know where you're going, I think.
But you've persuaded me. You've really have persuaded me over the last few weeks to how much you love this horse, and Paul loves this horse as well, and I do. But I've been trying to get it beat, and I came down that in the ITV7, Little Big Bear is the one to beat, the most likely winner, and it was just looking back through his 2-year-old career, that run in the Phoenix Stakes, wow.
Yeah,
unbelievable to pull away. And look, he got a setback, came back in the Guineas, soft ground, no good, got a bang, absolutely, completely make excuses for that run. Back at Haydock, he was back to his best one. There was a little draw bias that day, but I still, even with that, I think he'd have won the race. And what I liked about him that day was, if you saw when he went clear, he almost pulled himself up. He's like, I've got the job done here. I don't really need to win by that far, where he could have. I think you'll see in the Commonwealth Cup, he will go and win by as far as he could. And also his form, obviously, in the Windsor Castle last year, that's brilliant form at Royal Ascot. So, yeah, Little Big Bear is going to be my selection. One to watch out for each way, though, outside the ITV7, it was one I'll put up anti-post as well, is Lazoo at 9s, dropping back in trip, just like Little Big Bear. I think she can run a really big run, getting the sex allowance as well. But no, from a win perspective, we're 2 out of 2 together, Frankie. Little Big Bear. Hopefully we started off with 2 winners, because for you especially, because it was your nap on the anti-post pod as well, wasn't it, Little Big Bear? So that would be another one to throw in. Another tough event then on the Friday is the Duke of Edinburgh Handicap over 1 mile 4. This is a really competitive mark. We've got Al Nafir at the top of the market at 5, Timisius Fox, who's gone up to a mark of 104, who's won the last twice at 6-1. Kita Sushi for Joseph O'Brien at 15-2. Nagano 11s, and then 12-1 bigger the rest. This is where it gets a little bit more tricky, I think, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. These handicaps are really hard work. I've been siding with a couple of horses this week that have been off for 200-300 days, and it hasn't actually quite worked out. But Live Your Dream has had that comeback run ahead of Royal Ascot. He was off 609 days and then had a good second comeback run, putting in nearly a career best. And as a result of that, it's only gone up £2 coming here. If you had a horse that you thought was half decent and it was, nearly ready to race, and Ascot was around the corner, you would be training it with that in mind, and he has to surely improve for that Haydock run. How much he can improve is the question, because he probably will have to put in near a career best to win this race. But I think he's definitely going to improve from what we saw at Haydock, and that was a decent run after 600 odd days off. So, living your dream, he will have to have a career best, but it's not out of the question.
Yep, Live Your Dream, 12-1. Saib Bin Saroy and Danny Tudor, who's already had a winner this week on Road Millennium, which was a great ride. Horse I actually backed last year at Royal Ascot that ran really well. I'm going with again, and it's Joseph O'Brien's Akita Sushi. A horse that at the start of last season looked a force to be reckoned with, I thought. He started his 4-year-old career off at the Curragh over 1 mile 4. Good second to a nice stablemate in Reju in the listed Orby Stakes. He was then sent to Royal Ascot, and he stayed on from the close. If you watch that back, to grab 3rd behind Get Shirty in Cleveland in the Copper Horse Handicap over 1 mile 6. That was off a mark of 104. He was stepped up to 1 mile 7. They obviously thought this horse could be a stay in the making. That was at Leopardstown. And he was second behind a really well handicapped horse, giving a stone away to the winner that day. He was running the Ebor at York, didn't work out. Running the Irish Arrowich, didn't work out. Those were off 106 and 107. But both of them were poor runs towards the back end of the season. Been back this season. Marker 105 was a good winner over 2 miles at Dundalk. He was then dropped to 10.5 furlongs at the same track and made it back-to-back wins. So he shows he's very, very versatile horse. So he's been seen once more since then, back up to 1 mile 6. That was in the Group 3 Levenmos Stakes at Leopardstown. And he finished 5th of 9, but he only went down by 3 lengths behind the winner. So he's been dropped £3 for that, which is absolutely huge. He's off a lower marker 102, which is £2 below what he ran off in the Copper Horse Handicap last year, at last year's Royal Ascot. And I just think if getting back to a bit of form, showing his versatility, 15-2 in the market. I think a Kota Sushi for Joseph O'Brien, with Ryan Moore on board as well, who's riding out of skin this week, I think he could have a big say in this. So that would be my selection. And he's got a lot going for him, especially off his marker 102. So we'll have to see. These are tricky handicaps, but yeah, a Kota Sushi for me. Another big Group 1 we're going to get stuck into is the Coronation Stakes over a mile for the fillies. We have a really hot favourite in this, a horse we've talked about a lot. Frankie, I know we both love to hear her. She's 8-13. She's short as you come. She's that short because obviously the winner of the 1,000 guineas more just come out due to a dirty scope. That was going to be an absolute clash for the ages, them two coming back against each other. But it makes it a bit more of a penalty kick for Tahira, doesn't it, now, with her at 8-13. You've got Meditate, who she beat last time at 11-2. She just goes and wins, doesn't she?
I hope so. I think so. This will be the shortest price we've seen all week, won't it? 8-13, yeah. And rightly so, like you said. I mean, we spoke about this before, but the comments that Dermot Well made it, the English 1000, what probably makes her so exciting, when he said that she's not 100%, she's nearly there, but she'd probably be 100% for the Irish 1000. And for her to run as well as she did and battle as well as she did against Morge and pull clear from the rest of the field, and then go and confirm her ability by arguably looking even better in the Irish 1000, you know that she is a really, really, really good horse. And yeah, she's got the beating of Meditate already, and I just don't think there's many fillies over this trip, 3-year-olds anyway, that could put it up to her at the moment. She's up there with the best, isn't she? So yeah, Tahira should be straightforward.
Yeah, completely agree. Echo those comments. I mentioned this a few times, but that performance as a 2-year-old when she beat Meditate was one of the most taken performances I've seen for a long, long time. And obviously, I don't think she's probably hit the heights yet this season. I think at the English 1000, you're right what you're saying, Dermot. Well, we all probably knew she was maybe 85, 80%, and she still put it up to Morge massively. She was drawn in stall 1 in the Irish 1000, and it's always tough from that position. It was gritty, determined performance. I think she'll put it all together, and we'll see a performance like we did at the Curragh last season, more so today. I just think she takes all the beating. It's the ITV7. You don't need to worry about the odds. Keep it smart, keep it simple. Tahira goes and lands another Group 1 for her career. I think she's a superstar, and I think she's only going to kick on from what she's done already this season. Right then, a much more trickier punting event on the 4th day is the Sandringham Stakes over the straight mile for the fillies. I think this is probably the trickiest event of the day, Frankie, to call the winner, with 29 runners going to post. We've got Coppice at the top of the market, 6-1 for Frankie and Jonathan Eddie Gosden. Jackie O for Ryan Moore, Naden O'Brien, who drops from a Group 1 into a handicap. Dream of Love, 14s for Charlie Appleby, and 14-1 bigger the rest. Even though you should probably look for bigger prices and each way places in a race like this, I think the horses at the top of the market could be group horses in a handicap. What are your thoughts?
I'm going for a group horse in a handicap. Jackie O, who's already raced in the Irish 1000 and was a little bit tight for room and probably didn't get the easiest trip round. I know she is, I think she's 1 off top weight here, yeah. Which makes it hard work in a race like this, and like you said, there might be some lurking that are on a slightly lower mark, but I think she's just a decent horse. And you know, that Irish 1000 won by Tahira, who we've just spoke about, and Meditate, they're top class horses that are in that race, and she wasn't miles behind. These Ascot handicaps do have arguably better horses than handicaps elsewhere. And like we always say, lots that they're lurking and prep for Ascot, but I'm hoping her class just prevails. I think that run in the Irish 1000 was strong enough, and a marker 102, okay, 1 off top weight, but it's not exactly criminal anyway. So Jackie O, Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien, it's all positives.
Yeah, honestly, Jackie O was another. Me and you, obviously, we talk off air, and we could have you have a few selections in the race, and we've almost seemed to like go against each other, but we're not against each other because I do like a lot of the you put up. Jackie O was one I looked at massively when a horse drops back from a Group One and ran really well, not far behind at all. To hear her that day, you've got to take notice. I know she's off what second highest weight in this, but off a marker 102, she could have a lot of scope to improve because I do think she could go and win Group Threes and Group Twos in her career. Um, Saying that, the one I've gone for is Coppice because off a marker 97, I think she's in the same boat. And getting £5 off Jackie O just was the one that put it in her favour for me. She's a full sister to superstar sprinter Calix, being a daughter of Kingman. She's seen making a debut at Kempton over 7 furlongs in a novice stakes. She went on to put up a very taking performance. I thought she'd beaten the highly touted Whispering Dream for Godolphin. That was by close to 2 lengths. I thought that was a really smart performance. She's seen on a 3-year-old debut in the Group 3 Nelgwyn Stakes. And if you look at Jonathan A. Goslin's horses, when they've had soft ground at the start of the season, they just haven't run well. You look at Soul Sister, who blew out, Mustabshir blew out, and they've all come on to win since then. I just think that wasn't a race at all. Wrong side of the track. Ground, she probably was too soft for her. She ran no race at all. She was up to a mile when last seen at Newcastle. She was harbouring a penalty in the novice stakes, but it was more of a confidence booster for her, and she bounced back to form in a massive way. It was like a piece of work, really. She went on to win by 3 lengths, but it was as easy as you like. Given a mark of 97, handicap debut, I think she could have a few pounds in hands here. We've already talked about Covey at Haydock and was off a mark of 90. It's gone up to 100. I think this horse should be in the hundreds. And when you're looking at races like this, you need to find horses that do have scope to go further in the handicap. I think she's one of them. That's why she's at the top of the market. I think she's very, very dangerous up a marker 97, and I think she's a big, big player. So that's Coppice. The penultimate ITV7 race from Royal Ascot on Friday sees the Group 2 King Edward VII Stakes, a race we talked about on the anti-post preview that I probably think should be a Group 1. And you look at the horses in here, you've got second in the Derby, King of Steel at the top of the market, Arrest, who was up there in the betting for the Derby but didn't run his race, Continuous, who's running group race, the Artistic Star, who flew home in the Derby, Dubai Mile, who was in the Derby, and Relentless Voyager at 28-1 outsider. This is a smaller field than we've seen this week, but it's an absolutely cracking contest, isn't it, Frankie? Who takes it?
It is, yeah. I think I'm just going to keep it simple and say if King of Steel repeats that form, then he really should go and win. And there's even a case to be made. I think Kev Stott made this case himself. He was probably being harsh on himself, but did hit the front sooner than Auguste Rodin, and he did run out of the number of whips, which you have to be really careful of picking up any bans prior to Ascot. And we know how much Aidan O'Brien likes Auguste Rodin. He's talked about him as one of the best horses he's had in a very, very long time. So to get that close to Auguste Rodin and to hit the front maybe, slightly too soon, if repeating that for me, should really win this. I can't have a rest. Just didn't look like he was enjoying the ground at all, and it's going to be similar ground. Artistic Star, you mentioned, did finish well in the Derby and potentially could run a big race, but I just think if King of Steel repeats what he does, that should hold up.
Yep, I'm absolutely with you. I tried to be clever and I tried to take on King of Steel, and the one I would have took on King of Steel with what would be Artistic Star, just for the way he flew home in the Derby. But when you look back at it, I think Kevin Stott was being very harsh on himself. And I know he said because it's first run of the season, but it's a Derby, it's the biggest race in the world. He saw the finish line ahead of him. And it wasn't that he went too early, because Auguste Rodin only caught him late on. And like you said, Aidan O'Brien loves Auguste Rodin. And for King of Steel to get very, very close to that horse is a massive performance. I only think he's going to improve for that. He was probably bang on for the Derby, but a lot of horses do improve for their first run, don't they? I think King of Steel's the right price at 11 to 10. Yes, it is short, but like we've said multiple times, doesn't matter when you're trying to find winners in the ITV7. I think it's one of them on Friday where you've got a lot that you can try and keep simple. And I think this is one of them. If he runs to the same level he did in the Derby, he will take all the beat in this. I think you bang on about Arrest. He didn't like the ground. He needs softer ground. Continuous, I don't think he's fully there yet as a Group 1 horse. I like Dubai Mile, but he was well beaten in the Derby. I couldn't see him reversing that form. And Relentless Voyage is the outsider for a reason, not having the same level of form. So Artistic Star would be the one I'm worried about, but I'm not too worried because I think King of Steel will go on and take this event. Right then, the final ITV7 race on day 4 of Royal Ascot is another tricky handicap over 5 furlongs. It's the Palace of Holyroyd House Stakes. And I don't know where you even start with this race because it's so tough. But if you want to win the ITV7, you've got to find the winner. So finish us off on this one, Frankie.
I actually quite like one in this. Hispanic. It would be a good day for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien, on my judge anyway, if he can go and win and add another to their tally. Was really impressive at the Curragh as a 2-year-old and hasn't followed that up since. But you could make some excuses. Was 4th, and that was on really testing conditions. And to be honest, the horses in there, Aesop's Fables, Legend of Xanadu, Waddell, they're all rated in the hundreds. They're decent horses. So if you say that he didn't quite run to form that day and he wasn't disgraced behind good horses, then as a 3-year-old, just the one start at York when was hampered and his race was over early doors, really. So I just think you obviously have to take that form of the Curragh, but provided that he can bounce back to form, his last 2 runs have just got him potentially slightly well handicapped. So Hispanic in the last.
Yeah, could be a cracking day for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. Yeah, like I said, I struggle with this race. So I've gone for one at a bigger price, and a little bit of a cliff horse for me. So I'm probably going to fall off a cliff again with Wallbank for Kevin Stott, Dominic French Davis, and Amo Racing. A very smart sprinter last term. Finished a good second to Noble Style at Ascot on debut. Then went to York and bolted up by 7 lengths to break his maiden tag. He was sent into the Group 2 Norfolk Stakes at Royal Ascot last season, and he ran a huge race. He only finished second behind the Riddler for Richard Fahey, which is obviously showing he's got solid Ascot form in his 2 runs at the track. Finishing last term off when 3rd in the Group 3 Molecombe Stakes. He was behind Trillium, who's a really nice horse, and Rocket Rodney, who also runs in this at a similar price that I wouldn't put anyone off at as well, because I think that Ascot form's quite good and he could bounce back. He started this term Wallbank up at York in the listed Westow Stakes, and he never got involved at all. I did put him up that day and he never got involved. I just hope he'll strip much fitter for that first experience. He's back over a course and distance he performs well at. Dropping into handicaps as well makes him interesting off a mark of 100. I just thought 28-1 and won a race where I've struggled to find anything at the top of the market. I think a bigger price could take this. So Wallbank, for me to jump off a cliff with, will be my final selection in the IT7 on Friday. Frankie, 4 days completed. One more day to go. We'll be back with another ITV7 preview for the final day on Saturday. So make sure you subscribe to the Winners Enclosure channel so you get notified for that when it's gone live. Like ever, if you want to get involved, you got 2 more days to get involved with the ITV7 competition. Code TWE ITV7 to join the TWE League. £250 first place, cash prize up for grabs. So take a look at that. And there's also still £450,000 in jackpot prizes for across the rest of the week up for grabs. Again, have a look at the T's and C's if you want to get involved, with more details available in the description. Frankie, all the best for day 4. All the best, everyone watching. And thanks for watching our day 4 preview.